Hi guys, this is Jackie Cooper with JCooperTravels, and today I have a really interesting guest here who's going to be talking about a variety of topics. Andy, thank you so much for being here. I know that you are a few hours behind me because you're in California. What's the weather like there? Are you how are the fires going and everything else where you are?
Yeah, thank you, Jackie, for having me. Of course, yeah, the weather here actually this weekend was amazing. It's finally cleared up. In the past days, it was really gloomy due to the fires, but it's beautiful now. I look out in the sky and it's completely blue, and it's a great day to go outside and have some activities.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really great. So we connected on LinkedIn, and I was excited to talk with you because of your background and because of a lot of other things that we have in common. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, your background, what you're currently doing, and how you got involved in all that.
Yeah, of course. So I am a recent Chico State graduate student, and I got involved now with my job currently, which is Crystal Equation. They're a recruitment staff and marketing staff. And that kind of happened due to a lot of the programs I joined at Chico State. They had a great programs. The fraternity I was in is amazing help, and that's why I'm here today doing the job I am doing. And yeah, Chico State was amazing. It was great. I'm here now in the Bay Area, and unfortunately due to COVID, there's not much to do, but it's an amazing city, and I'm happy to be here and grateful to have a job.
So tell me a little bit more about Chico State. I actually have come across a lot of individuals on the LinkedIn platform, but I haven't had the opportunity or pleasure to talk to them. Is Chico State extremely large, or how is that university kind of set up?
The town itself is pretty small. But that's actually what I love about the town. Everyone there knows each other, and it really makes the students all get together and know each other. You're walking down, the University Village, and you know basically everyone. It was great. And it's a very hands-on school. That's what I really love about it. I didn't know that until I started attending there. Every classroom is very hands-on, even down to the general education. They really make you step foot and know exactly what you're doing, and they put it to practice, and it was great.
So how did you decide what area that you wanted to focus on?
Um, well, I went there as an undergraduate, not knowing what I want to do at all, at all. I actually want to be a dental hygienist, which is very different from what I'm doing now. But I went there, I took a couple classes, and like I said, everything was so hands-on that it really gave me the feel of everything and what I want to do. I went the dental hygienist route. It was so hands-on, didn't like it.
That's
So I,
great that you
yeah,
found that out though, right?
yeah, it was amazing that I found out so early on, especially since the program is so expensive. Um, but yeah, there was a teacher there actually, and she sat me down. She was like, "Hey, like this is what your agenda is going to look like next semester. I'm going to give you a bunch of different classes that looks like you might be interested in. They're all very hands-on. Go into them open-minded and see which one you like." And one of those classes ended up being marketing. So I went for marketing and business, loved it, didn't love the math aspect of it. And so I sat down, reevaluated everything all over again. And she told me, well, hey, we can go the PR path and the marketing path and group those together. And that might be the perfect mix for you. And thankfully it was. It took off and it really stuck and I loved it.
So I know that we were talking a little bit before the podcast that you became involved with the fraternity, and I've been exposed a little bit to fraternities, but I don't know a lot about them. And so, can you share a little bit more about how fraternities, I mean, each one seems to have a different mission or focus. So, yours was in the business side?
Yeah, so there was many fraternities at Chico State, and I explored many of them before entering one. And it seemed like the business fraternity that I joined seemed to stick and seemed to make sense for my career path. And it definitely did. I joined it very open-minded. Also, I joined it my freshman year, actually. So I didn't really know much. I didn't know people. I didn't know what even the fraternity was about. But I'm very glad I did. It opened me up to so many things in the business world, so many connections, so much networking. Not only did I meet people that I still talk to this day and are best friends with till this day, it opened me up to people that own businesses now, people that I could connect with on LinkedIn and be like, hey, in the future, if I need, a favor or a job, I have those connections. So it really opened it up differently. So, if anyone's looking to join a fraternity, I would definitely say do your research, get a feel for them. And I'm sure if anyone that's in one currently loves it. And, who anyone's on LinkedIn looking for people to hire that are coming out of college, I would say people in fraternities definitely have a different skill set, not only, socially, but also in the skills wise of, based on what the fraternity is about.
So what was the name of the fraternity that you became involved with?
Mine was Phi Chi Theta.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do fraternities decide their names? I'm just curious.
You know what? I'm not completely sure about that. It took me a while to even know what the letters meant, even for my own fraternity, because there's so many of them, and they're all seem to, have the same colors and everything, especially based on the school wise. So I'm not completely honestly sure about that, how that came about.
That's okay. That's okay. I just thought I'd ask that, not to, because I've been always curious about that. So I know that you are in your current job, but how was the process of obtaining a job due to COVID and the whole learning experience of graduating, approaching, the resume route, the interview route, that type of thing?
I would say it was definitely challenging, but thankfully for my frat, we hold seminars that are called, they're called, what are they called? Sorry, I forgot. I'm blanking out.
That's okay.
Career fairs. Sorry about that. Career fairs, and they bring all these recruiters from different areas, all the way down from SoCal to the Bay Area. Some even come from New York City to these career fairs twice a year, and we host them. And they're open to anyone that at Chico State, even if they're part of a fraternity or not. They're open to these connections. And I actually met one of the recruiters from where I'm currently working at my junior year, my last semester for my junior year, and we connected and he told me about the business. I loved it. He told me, you're a little bit too early on the process. You're barely a junior. We'll be back next year, and hopefully by then you have a resume and everything a little bit more put together. And surely I did. The semester that followed up my senior year, he came back and I told him, well, here's my resume. I'm ready to apply. And, it kick-started off very great. Within the next 2 weeks, I was, having Zoom meetings with the CEO and talking about the business. And that was a huge step for me, to talk to someone that owns such a huge business, very successful, and to take the time to talk to, students that are graduating and, letting them know some insights, even if she wanted to hire me or not. She took that time, and I'm very grateful for it. So I started very early on. So the process started off very great. And I got through a few interview rounds. And then COVID happened, and then everything just completely slowed down. All the companies, out there weren't sure if they can hire anymore. They couldn't meet in person anymore. We couldn't have a second career fair. So thankfully, I started so early on that I was so far into the process with this company that they were willing to do the extent of, doing the rest of the interview process over a computer instead of in person. And I'm very grateful that it went great. I signed a contract right before my last semester. Especially with what was going on, I was very easy to just write my name over to this contract and secure a job. I definitely know a lot of people that weren't so, didn't have that luck, and they got their contracts pulled because the companies just couldn't hire anybody. They just, they didn't know what was going to happen next. But yeah, that process was definitely scary, but it worked out for me, thankfully.
Yeah, I'm glad because a lot of businesses are doing virtual business. So for some companies, they were able to transition to the virtual, even though others are more brick and mortar. And so that was a little bit more difficult for them. And they've had to kind of evolve and change their model. So for companies like the one that you're with, where they could do some virtual business, that's great. So where do you see your career going in the future, ideally?
Ideally, if we weren't in the COVID situation, it would be much different. I really want to take my career abroad for a while. I think that's something that I've really wanted to, even since I was in college. I want to just go out there. I think once you experience something out of your, normal day to day, it really opens up your eyes to a bigger picture of it. And a career wise, I think that'd be amazing to go work across the country with people, have different ideals, different morals, different, just different ideology. It would be amazing. It's sadly because of what's going on, I can still connect with those people on Zoom. I still talk to people that internationally because of my job, and that's amazing. It makes me want to miss it even more. Wish I was there. Um, but I definitely see myself going, I'm not sure exactly where yet, but definitely abroad for a couple of years and taking my career with me.
I think that for many like yourself or for me, we can be portable. We can move. And even when I've traveled overseas, I've had my phone, my iPad, and an international cell plan or not. And you can definitely do business. I know that I have a travel partner who's in Scotland. So every morning at 6, I'm on a business call with her. And and I know that as soon as travel is not paused, I'll be heading over to visit her and to do business over there. So I'm right there with you that you can kind of pick up and move, and depending upon obviously your other obligations, but it would be great for you to go overseas and to experience a whole new country and culture and that type of thing. What direction do you think you might head first?
That's tricky. I definitely have time now on my hands to research that, but I definitely want to go the Thailand route. I was supposed to be gonna go to Thailand earlier this month, but it didn't happen. But I'm still very focused on going to Thailand, even if that's my career path or not. I would love to visit Thailand for a good month and just, completely submerge myself in that culture. More idealistic, it might end up going the Australia route. I know
Yeah,
that my headquarters, they have a headquarters for my business up there in Sydney. So I can definitely get transferred up there once this settles down a little bit. And I would be excited to see what the Australian life gives me.
that would be great. That would be great. Trust me, you'll have a lot of visitors from the States once they know that you're overseas. They'll say, you have an extra room.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think, travel can always be incorporated into any business. What about the fraternities? Do they have overseas locations, or are they normally just based in the United States?
No, for my fraternity, we had locations all over the world. It was international. We actually, Chico State is known for having a really strong program to go overseas. And so almost everybody I knew there went to go study abroad. And a lot of people that were in my fraternity actually were study abroad people coming from different countries. So
Wow.
it was amazing to see like half of our fraternity, they were either from Korea, they were from Thailand, they were from everywhere. And it was really cool. There was definitely, some a speech thing that we couldn't understand some people, but it was great getting to know people and getting to know like, oh, you're from Thailand, you're here for 8 months and you joined our fraternity, and they can go back and tell them how it was here in the United States. So it was great.
That is awesome. I think that you and I also talked about the fact that there's different scholarships and other financial possibilities for individuals that are participate in the fraternity. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our fraternity gave us the opportunity to get scholarships based on different things. For example, one would be, companies can sponsor us if we're, for example, if the company I'm currently working for, I reached out to them and let them know, I'm very interested to work with you. I'm currently at a business fraternity. I need certain books or, just tuition, some type of help. Um, they would be able to sponsor me and be like, oh, here you go, as a little nudge to make sure that I apply to, their job or whatever. Or, there's certain people that applied for business suits, or even women that needed dress clothes. If they didn't have it, Chico State had a program where they would give them a full scholarship of $800 a semester to go to Macy's and buy anything that was business related for their future.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah,
That's
and
definitely
that,
awesome.
that was actually one of the most popular ones. It was really great. A lot of people took advantage of that. And there's many more that they offered depending on, what career path you want to take, or, if you, like me, want to go over abroad, there was also financial help for that.
That you've shared so much wonderful information that I know that the listeners of the podcast are going to appreciate. This I know is going to be on more than one of my podcasts because I have JCooperTravels as well as a career podcast. So I know that for those listening, you can listen to that at Cooper Virtual Career podcast, and also I have a podcast that is also Love Travel Scotland. So there might be, it might be pushed over to that too. So thank you so much for sharing, your story. For those that are driving or listening to the podcast or even on the YouTube side, remember there's always like a block of information space above the podcast or above the YouTube. So that way you can learn more about Chico State, you can learn more about the fraternity, you can reach out to me. Again, we have a lot of resources to help you both from the career side as well as from the business side. So definitely reach out. Remember to subscribe to my podcast as well as to the YouTube channel so that way you can learn about other stories, other travel experiences, on JCooperTravels and the other podcasts. Thank you so much again for being part of the podcast. I look forward to hearing more about your stories and where you end up down the road. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jackie, for having me. I appreciate it.